Welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Management Studies, SOMS, Diploma in Retailing, DIRIL. Semester I, BRL 102 Retail Marketing and Communication. Unit 4 Customer and Customers' Needs. 4.0 Objectives. After studying this unit, you will be able to differentiate between customer and consumer, define needs and goals in the context of consumer behavior, explain need systems, specifically, identify the components of Maslow's need theory, and offer a critique of needs theory. Describe the major theories of needs and apply them in consumer behavior. Describe the factors that determine customer needs and wants. Explain consumer emotions and consumer self-concept. Describe consumer personality traits and apply their meanings to retail. 3.1 Introduction. The terms customer and consumer are often used interchangeably in the marketing texts. However, one should be clear about the difference which exists between the two terms. A customer is one who buys things from a manufacturer, seller, any other party. He, she, it may or may not actually use the product. If he, she, it uses or consumes the product, then he, she, it becomes a consumer as well. Therefore, a consumer is someone who actually consumes or uses the product. He is known as the end user of the product. He may or may not buy the product and thus or be the customer. Let us understand this concept by an example mentioned below. Let us assume that you buy a shirt and gift it to your friend on his birthday. In this case, you are the customer and your friend is the consumer. However, if you buy the shirt for yourself, i.e., you wear the shirt yourself, you also become the consumer. In this case, the customer and consumer are one and the same person. Let us take another example. If an organization buys equipment and uses it for its own production purposes, it is the customer as well as the consumer. However, if it buys and sells equipment to another firm, then it is a case of being the customer but not the consumer. A third example exists in the case of pharmaceutical selling. Doctors are customers for medical representatives. However, more often than not, doctors do not consume these medicines. It is the patient of the doctor who consumes medicines when they are sick. Here, the doctor is the customer for the medical representative and the patient who actually consumes these medicines is the consumer. 4.2 What is need? We human beings have unlimited needs, and our needs, which we study as consumer needs, are the basis of all modern marketing. We can say that needs are the essence of marketing concepts. In fact, the key to a firm's survival, profitability, and growth in a highly competitive marketing environment is its ability to identify and satisfy unfulfilled consumer needs better and sooner than the competitor. In this chapter, we basically will be discussing the basic needs that operate in most people to motivate behavior. Behavior here is focused on consumption-related aspects. We also go further to explore the influence such needs have on consumption behavior. So now let us see what the need is. We can say there is a cause for all the activities of human beings, and each activity is backed by a particular need or motive. Needs, we can say, is a feeling or desire for something which is lacking, and through performing various activities to get the feeling of lacking removal and thus become satisfied. Thus any human behavior is caused by motives or needs. Hence, to make it more clear, motivation is concerned make it. Ation is gone with needs, the most basic human requirement. Drives, tell how these needs translate into behavior. Goals, what these behaviors aim to achieve. We can look at customers in these buckets also and then link it with their various needs and wants. Customer 18, middle-aged to 35 years, customer 40 to 60 years, elderly customers 60 age, kids below 12, teens between 13 years age, years to 18 years, DINK, double, income no kids, SINK single, income no kids, types and systems of need. These needs that we discussed so far could fall into three broad categories. A. Physiological, primary, need, those needs, which are innate or biogenic needs and sustain life. E.g., food and air. B. Psychological need, need for personal competence. C. Learned, secondary or unilateral, need, acquired needs. 4.3 Needs arousal. Need could be aroused by four distinct stimuli: physiological, cognitive, environmental, emotional. To understand the stimuli better, let us look at examples for each kind of stimuli. Fig 4.1 Interrelationship between stimulus. Look at the screen. Need is also triggered through the customer behavior based on Maslow's theory as well. Figure 4.1 Interrelationship between stimulus and need arousal. 4.4 Goals. Goals are known as the sought-after result of motivational behavior. Goals may be generic or specific. Selection of goals. For a given need, choice of the goal to satisfy the need will depend on a number of things. Personal experience, social and cultural norms and values. Personal norms and values, physical and/or intellectual capacity, accessibility of goal, self-image. Let us mention here a very popular theory which links needs and drives with goals. This theory is known as Hull's drive reduction theory. Let us look at the figure 4.2. Fig 4.2, a simple view of Hull's drive reduction theory. Look at the screen. As we can see above in figure 4.2, a need will give rise to a drive and the resulting behavior will be aimed at reducing the drive and thereby the need. According to Hull, the drive reduction act or the act of reducing the drive will reinforce the drive reducing behavior, whereby it is likely the behavior be repeated again in case of recurrence of the need in the future. We can also explain this concept as shown below in figure 4.3. Example. Let us take an example to understand this well. Suppose you are out in the sun and feeling thirsty. Your behavior will be to seek and find out the nearest source of refreshment, a small restaurant perhaps. Going by Hull's theory, it is most likely that you will prefer to drink a cool drink, which has satisfied your thirst in the past, Pepsi, for instance. You may also go for something similar like Coca-Cola, or try something new. If this new option is found to be satisfactory, then it is likely to be selected next time you are thirsty. 4.5 Needs and wants. Now that we have a fair idea of what is needed, let us look at the difference between need and want, although we use the two terms interchangeable at times. So, what is the difference between need and want? A need is an unsatisfactory condition of the customer that leads him or NER that leads him or her to an action to make the condition better, e.g., the need for food. A want is a desire to obtain more satisfaction than is absolutely necessary to improve an unsatisfactory condition, e.g., the desire for that food to be chocolate. Let us now see what exactly determines needs and wants. So, what determines customer needs and wants? Figure 4.3, a comparison of the determination of the needs and wants. Look at the screen. What determines customer needs? 1. Personal characteristics of the individual. Genetics, the branch of science dealing with heredity and chemical and biological characteristics, e.g., food allergies. Biogenic, characteristics that individuals possess at birth, e.g., gender and race. Psychogenic, individual states and traits induced by a person's brain functioning, e.g., moods and emotions. 2. Physical characteristics of environment, climate, including temperature, altitude and rainfall, e.g., winter versus summer clothing. Topography refers to the physical condition of the location, e.g., mountain bikes in certain terrain. Ecology, including quality of air, ozone layer and food chain, e.g., sun protection and allergy medications. What determines customer wants? 1. The individual context, personal worth or the financial resources available to the individual, e.g., luxury versus budget cars. Institutional context, the group and organizations that a person belongs, e.g., teen clothing styles. Cultural context, the influence of a customer's culture and cultural values, e.g., ethnic foods versus junk modern foods. 2. The environmental context, economy, technology, public policy. Can you try and give examples for the environmental contexts mentioned above? We can summarize all these determinates of needs and wants in the following table given in figure 4.5 as the impact of need and want determinants. Impact of need and want determinants. Let us consider the impact of need and wants determinants. This can be easily explained by the following matrix. The matrix explains two parameters, namely, personal and environmental characteristics. In both characteristics, physical and contextual meanings have been discussed. Look at the screen. We can take a few more examples to explain this further. 1. Needs-driven markets, e.g. summer clothing. 2. Personal wants and environmental needs, e.g. name brand summer clothing. 3. Personal needs and environmental wants, e.g. ready-to-eat meals. 4. Wants-driven markets, e.g. designer clothing. Need for arousal, cognition and attribution. Arousal seeking, optimal level of stimulation, not bored, overwhelmed. Level of adaptation, level perceived as normal. Arousal seeking motive, stimulation at optimum level. Curiosity, need or cognition. Need for knowledge, information, understanding. Tolerance of ambiguity, degree to which lack of information causes anxiety. Market mavens have information about many products and provide market information to customers. Need for attributions, inferences about causes of events and behavior, of self and others. Internal attributions ascribing to personality dispositions, traits, abilities, motivations or feelings. E.g., he, she did it because they were bored. External attributions ascribing to situational demands or environmental constraints beyond the control of the individual. E.g., he, she did it because of the weather. 4.6. Motive. It means a construct representing an unobservable force that stimulates and compels a behavioral response and provides specific direction to that response. Needs occur when a perceived discrepancy exists between an actual and a desired state of being. Note that there are many theories of motivation. Don't look at these as right or wrong, they are just theories. None are validated but seem intuitively logical. Multiple motives. Consumers usually have multiple motives for particular behaviors. These can be a combination of manifest. This is known to the person and freely admitted. Latent. This is unknown to the person or the person is very reluctant to admit. Note. Different motives can lead to the same behavior. Observing behavior is not sufficient to determine motives. Please have a look at the model. Atmi mentioned below. Unsatisfied need equals greater than tension equals greater than drives equals greater than search behavior equals. Satisfied need equals greater than reduction of tension. A model of motivation might look like. The above model explains the core concept of motivation in very simple terms. However, we will not limit our knowledge of motivation till this point only. We would also discuss some other major models of motivation. However, here we will only take a cursory glance at some of the major models of motivation. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow hypothesized that within every human being there exists a hierarchy of 5 needs. 1. Physiological. 2. Safety. Attempting to raise a family of 4 on 12,000 rupees per month, if self-actualization shouldn't occur without first meeting lower order needs. Nonetheless, one point that can be made from looking at Maslow's theory and from others is that we can expect different people in different situations to be motivated in different ways and toward different goals depending on what needs have been met. That is, while the specific factors of Maslow's idea are not valid in all situations, the idea that motivation can work in a hierarchical fashion is a valid concept. However, to explain this further, we end the discussion on this model by taking the example of household customers and their different levels of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs for household customers. Physiological needs: food, clothing, and shelter. Safety needs: insurance, car safety features. Social needs: customer and customers' needs. Love, acceptance. Shade had identified 5 levels of needs, which we are mentioning well with some examples. Functional need: those needs which satisfy a physical functional purpose, e.g., soap. Social need: needs that allow identification with desired groups, e.g., logos. Emotional need: those needs which create appropriate emotions, e.g., joy on getting gift. Epistemic need: the need for knowledge, information, e.g., newspaper. Situational need: the needs which are contingent on time, place, e.g., emergency repairs. 3. McClelland's 3 needs theory. As we know, having studied this before, McClelland had identified 3 types of needs: need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation. These are denoted by NAC, NPOW, NAF respectively. Let us discuss them very briefly. NAC, need for achievement, drive to excel, drive to achieve in relation to a set of standards, to strive to succeed. NPOW, need for power, the need to make others behave in a way that they would not have otherwise. NAF, Need for affiliation, the desire for friendly and close interpersonal relationships. High knack. Some people like goals, some do. These people are high achievers. They are not gamblers. They avoid very easy or very difficult tasks. Low odds of losing present no challenge to their skills. High odds of losing offer no rewards from happenstance success. Get most satisfaction from 50 to 50 odds. High NPOW. These people like being in charge. More interested in the prestige of power than in effective performance. High NAF. These people strive for friendship. Prefer cooperative rather than competitive situations. Desire relationship with a high degree of mutual understanding. McClelland's idea suggests why it is that different people behave in different ways. We all have more or less a need on some of these factors, making each of us motivated toward different personal goals. People who have a higher knack would probably make better entrepreneurs or salespeople and be lousy team players. People who have a higher NPOW would probably make better leaders but could be obnoxious, arm twisters, as salespeople. People who have a higher NAF would probably make the best team players but would lack the self-drive to be salespeople running their own territory. The point of this is to note that different people have different personalities. 4.7 Customer emotions. Emotions. We can say that emotions are consciousness of the occurrence of some physiological arousal followed by a behavioral response along with a praised meaning of both. Schachter's two-factor theory says, experience of emotion depends on automatic arousal and its cognitive interpretation. Marketers respond by designing the stimulus to fit appropriate consumption emotions and aiding in message appraisal. E.g., symbolism in advertising. Types of emotions. Plutchak proposed 8 primary emotions. Fear, from timidity to terror. Anger, from annoyance to rage. Joy, from serenity to ecstasy. Sadness, from pensiveness to grief acceptance, from tolerance to adoration. Disgust, from boredom to loathing. Anticipation, from mindfulness to vigilance. Surprise, from uncertainty to amazement. Other emotions are combinations, e.g. joy and acceptance combine as love, disgust and sadness combine as remorse. Let us read the following section on needs, self-expression, and consumer behavior and try to assimilate and synthesize the concepts. 4.8. Needs, self-expression, and consumer behavior. Needs, motivation and personality are related concepts and it would be appropriate to consider them together in a practical context. Need is a state of deprivation. Motivation is the drive, which propels a person towards achieving his goals, and personality is a set of inner characteristics, which enable a person to decide how he or she should respond to the environment. Motivation and personality could be linked. A person with a high degree of confidence may be assertive. There are several theories on personality. Freudian theory assumes that the behavior of individuals would be based on unconscious needs and drives. According to this theory, the human personality consists of 3 parts: id, ego and superego. The id is the component, which consists of impulses and primitive instincts, which urge the individual to move towards immediate gratification. A number of product categories which may not have well-defined functional attributes, and which are oriented towards sensual pleasure formulate communication, which may appeal to the id part of the personality. Perfumes, cigarettes and liquor are some categories, which make use of the approach. Black Knight and Bacardi brands are examples, which have adopted this route to communication. There are 2 kinds of needs, primary and secondary. Primary needs are associated with physiological needs such as thirst, hunger and sex. Secondary needs are acquired needs like sense of belonging, status and self-esteem. Consumers may not consciously know their secondary needs, and it is in this situation that the symbolism associated with brands could appeal to consumers. Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Park Avenue in apparel, Mercedes in automobiles and Fastrack in watches are some examples, which reflect the symbolism in brands. Consumers, by associating themselves with these symbolic brands, are able to gratify their psychological needs. Research methods are required to probe into such needs of consumers. Liril soap was launched in the 70s after a research agency researched and found that housewives had a distinctive need for fantasizing. This was captured in the advertisement for Liril, Waterfall, freshness, denoted by green, and the indulgence of the model in the advertisement. This communication is still being used, with variations brought in, after more than 2 decades. Multiplicity of needs. Normally consumers have more than one need, and analyzing the multiplicity of needs, with their importance, could provide insights for marketers. A buyer of no-frill Maruti may be interested in the brand because of its low price, fuel economy and adequate comfort. But low price could be the prepotent need, which could take the brand into the consideration set of consumers. Types of goals. Goals can be positive or negative. A positive goal is one towards which behavior is directed, and a negative goal is one from which behavior is directed away. This concept is useful when USP, unique selling proposition, is researched. For example, would consumers want white teeth or would they like to prevent tooth decay, could be a decision which needs to be taken by the marketer, and the concept of goals are likely to be useful in this situation. Extrinsic and intrinsic needs. Needs from the viewpoint of application to a practical context could be classified as extrinsic and intrinsic needs. Extrinsic needs are those which motivate an individual to achieve an end result. Buying a status symbol, designer watches or furniture, to impress others could be associated with extrinsic needs. If the individual buys a car for his own comfort and enjoyment, it gets associated with intrinsic needs. It may be worthwhile to gauge the linkages between intrinsic and extrinsic needs before a communication package is formulated for a brand. The example would explain the concept of examining the linkages between intrinsic and extrinsic needs. In-depth research is required to gauge the degree and importance of these needs. This would also be useful to select the imagery, which needs to be associated with the chosen USP. For example, Cielo carried imagery in which the proud owner of the brand reflected his happiness at procuring the brand after he had achieved success. This typically involves both intrinsic and extrinsic motives. Trade-off motivators. Research has shown that the manner in which consumers perceive marketing communication has important implications for marketers. This is especially in the area of FMCG products such as fast foods. Healthy and fast, meaning convenience, may be perceived as tasting bad and oriented towards laziness. This ambiguity could be referred to as trade-off motivators in marketing. Self-concepts and their implications. In almost any category in consumer products, symbolism makes use of self-concept. Self-concept is the image an individual holds about himself. There are a variety of self-concepts, which could be useful to marketing communication. They are a. Actual self-concept, how the individual perceives himself. A group of consumers may perceive themselves as rebellious, non-conformists who seek individuality and freedom in their lifestyles. Charms brand of cigarettes, during the early 80s, was perhaps one of the early brands in the Indian context to create a brand personality using the power of self-concept. The spirit of freedom in Charms is the way you are, were some of the punchlines in the advertisement of the brand, which featured young models. In order to add to the claims about freedom, they had packaged the brand in the pack, which carried a denim type of design. This was the time when denim, which has its origin in the US, was getting accepted in the Indian context for its functional and symbolic appeals. The lifestyle type of advertising and the association, normally associated in the West with casualness and freedom, made the brand an inherent part of the youth culture during its time. The brand had used either actual self-concept or others' actual self-concept, how an individual likes other to perceive him. B. Ideal self-concept. This is concerned with how an individual would like to ideally perceive himself. There is a thin line of difference in that ideal self-concept has an overtone of futuristic aspiration in it, more deeper than an active self-image. The individual perceives the ideal image of himself or herself based on his aspiration needs, and this would depend on the individual's status, financial and educational, childhood upbringing, environmental exposure and personality traits. An upcoming businessman may buy the Lacoste brand of apparel, which is associated with the profile of a globetrotter, club membership, some kind of exclusivity and perhaps certain upmarket sports. There could also be a customer and customer's need variant of this kind of self-concept in the form of others' ideal self-concept, how others should ideally perceive the individual. The individual may use status symbols to impress others' ideal self-concept, but may resist from using them whenever there is a situation where the individual feels others do not matter. Personal discretionary time, leisure etc., whiz professional work. Marketers could use such psychographic information with time styles, how individuals spend their time, to come up with appropriate appeals for products and services. Vacation and weekend cars are examples of categories where these kinds of orientation are likely to be useful. C. Expected self-image. This kind of image is between actual and ideal self-images. It is likely to be useful to marketers because changing the self-image radically towards the ideal image would be difficult, and expected self-image is one which consumer could identify with. A typical example is the advertisements of computer education institutes, which attempt to draw prospective consumers for their courses generally ranging from a few weeks to 2 years. Though there is an element of aspiration, consumers feel it leads to a situation which is a stepping stone, completion of the course to get a job, rather than the realization of their dreams, the ultimate ideal self-image. For a given target segment, the short-term aspirations may reflect actual self-concepts and the long-term ones the ideal self-concepts. Individual differences as reflected through self-perception, sensitivity to others' perception, and rational and irrational needs form the basis on which brands carry their psychological warfare in the minds of consumers. Inner directedness and other directedness of consumers. There may be broadly two kinds of consumers, inner directed ones and other directed ones. Inner directed consumers. Inner directed consumers look to themselves for following a specific lifestyle, forming attitudes towards product categories and brands, and in general for purchase decisions. Other directed consumers are influenced by their peers, neighbors, and by groups with which they interact on a regular basis, or by aspiration groups. The soft drink brand, Sprite, which positioned itself as a non-pseudo drink, is probably a brand targeted towards inner-directed consumers. Other directed brands are those which strongly emphasize the group or symbolize others' self-concept. Goldflake and Bacardi are examples. Personality traits and their applications. Traits are enduring and distinguishing. Characteristics that differentiate one individual from the other are helpful to marketers in a variety of ways. Let us discuss some of these traits and look for their application. Consumer innovativeness. This aspect of personality may be useful to both FMCG products and durables. It enables marketers to identify and target consumers who would be receptive to new product categories. A number of new product categories are being introduced, and specifically these categories will benefit from identifying the innovators. Mobile phones, electronic toys, plasma TVs, world space music systems, special types of watches such as EcoDrive from Citizen, and electric cars are some categories which may benefit from the identification of innovator profile. Innovators would also form a good base of consumers who would spread the word about the category or brand. There is a need to ensure that innovators are not only satisfied with the product but also with the service that is packaged with the product. It may be worthwhile for marketers to find out if these types of consumers perceive the benefits offered by a new category of products. For instance, products such as a 3-in-1, which comprised a transistor, tape recorder, and record player, introduced in the early 70s, did not catch on even though a few innovators bought this product. With a narrow plane of differentiation existing in the cola market, a brand could come out with a cola fortified with vitamins, and the success of such a product would depend on the perception of innovators. Consumer ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is the tendency of a consumer to prefer products made in his/her country, vis-a-vis products made in a foreign country. The Rough and Tough jeans brand is a good example of a brand attempting ethnocentrism. Jeans as a category are of foreign origin, and consumers have been used to a number of foreign brands. Indian's Mills, which launched Rough and Tough, found that aspiration levels of consumer groups in semi-urban towns with regard to the product category were high, but their affordability only permitted them to buy jeans, which were clones, duplicates of well-known brands and of inferior quality. There was a need for a good quality jeans brand at affordable prices. Rough and Tough was launched with a celebrity, and the brand followed this up with a campaign, which emphasized the ethnicity of the brand. The campaign was effective in removing the perception that only foreign brands were associated with the category. Bajaj launched the Hamara Bajaj campaign in the 90s when it found that competitive brands were making a dent in its share. The campaign made use of the popularity of the brand throughout the country, not only in urban areas in which the presence of competitive brands was felt. The problem of grey markets in categories such as cigarettes, perfumes, and consumer electronics could be effectively tackled by using ethnocentrism, variations of the concept. A grey market is one in which smuggled brands, though original, are made available through illegal channels of distribution. If a foreign company has a manufacturing or a collaborative arrangement in the country, it could highlight this aspect in the brand communication and thus develop a favorable attitude for the brand. Consumer optimum stimulation level. The intensity of physical or mental or sensory activity in individual experiences could be referred to as stimulation level. Due to the differences in personality factors and lifestyles, individuals vary in the stimulation levels they experience. Individuals with a high level of stimulation are likely to find ways to reduce the stimulation levels, and individuals with a low level are likely to make attempts to increase their level of stimulation. The marketing implication could be explained through a typical example involving the customer and customer's need selection of a vacation that could range from adventure-filled ones to those which offer tranquility and peace. Another application of stimulation levels could be that associated with the management of product lines in FMCG categories such as biscuits, chocolates, toothpastes, and even cigarettes. One of the objectives of launching variants, in the form of flavors and tastes, is to ensure that consumers do not change the brand. It may be worthwhile for a brand to find out through research if loyal consumers need variety to gratify their stimulation levels. Revenue from variants would have to be carefully managed for product line profits, and stimulation levels of consumers may be a useful point to be taken into consideration. Consumer dogmatism. This refers to a trait which is responsible for the individual's resistance whenever the information provided to the individual is not in tune with his/her beliefs, degree of rigidity towards beliefs not in tune with these beliefs. Consumers who have a low level of dogmatism are likely to be more open to marketing communication than those who have a high level of dogmatism. Exploring the cognitive aspects of attitude among the target segment could be very useful to marketers, especially before they formulate the communication for a brand. The usefulness will be more pronounced for a new concept product. For instance, among the target segment for water purifiers, there may be a set of consumers who strongly believe that the process of purification is likely to be hazardous to health and that the end benefit of purified water could be obtained through a brand of water filter. This kind of belief has to be carefully dealt with using a combination of promotional methods, advertisements, personal selling, and perhaps demonstration with sophisticated methods and research data. Permission marketing, which involves creating an involvement from the consumer's end, is likely to be effective in providing a foundation to communicate with the consumer and slowly reduce the intensity of dogmatism. From among the target segment for the product, water filter, it may be useful to gather data on how many would be interested in obtaining information on the brand, which would also include the kind of information which will address wrong beliefs. If the brand is able to communicate effectively with this cross-section of consumers, there are chances that word of mouth could take over and spread to other consumers in the target segment. This approach is likely to be more effective than a high-visibility campaign, which directly attacks the set beliefs held by a cross-section of consumers. A spate of advertisements, if used, may become counterproductive if they generate counter-arguments in the psyche of dogmatic consumers. Consumers may feel that the brand is attempting to force itself on them by the sponsorship of a blitzkrieg. The qualitative aspects of personality-oriented concepts offer several creative avenues for marketers. 4.9 Let us sum up. Customer is someone who purchases the product, whereas a consumer is the one who actually uses the product. A consumer is also known as the end user of the product. Thus, it should be clear that a distinction needs to be made in the two. Needs are basic human requirements. Needs are the essential requirements which must be satisfied for survival, e.g., need for food, water, air, shelter, etc. However, needs are not only restricted to basic needs, and in the study of consumer behavior, we can stretch the classification of needs as primary and secondary needs. Secondary needs are also known as acquired needs. We learn these needs in response to the environment within which we live. There are a number of reasons which can give birth to needs. These are physiological, cognitive, environmental, emotional. Goals are known as the sought-after result of motivational behavior. Goals may be generic or specific. Selection of goals depends upon certain factors. For a given need, choice of the goal to satisfy the need will depend on a number of things which are as below. Personal experience, social and cultural norms and values. Personal norms and values, physical and/or intellectual capacity, accessibility of goal, self-image. The unit discussed the relationship between needs and wants. We also discussed the factors determining customer needs and wants. Motives mean a construct representing an unobservable force that stimulates and compels a behavioral response and provides specific direction to that response. Motives can be multiple in nature and existence. The unit discussed some theories on motivation. The discussion of these theories makes it easy for us to understand how consumers would likely behave under given circumstances. We can say that emotions are consciousness of the occurrence of some physiological arousal followed by a behavioral response along with a praised meaning of both. There are largely 8 kinds of emotions. Other emotions can be figured out by a mix of these 8 emotions. So, to be a successful retailer, we need to understand the customer emotions and their implications for the consumer response is also an outcome of self-concept and his personality traits. An understanding of these factors can really help in predicting and influencing the customer's behavior. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.